In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
This is Mike.
There you go.
I can't do it. I can't do it this morning. I tried. It's too early.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful. Great way to start off the new year. Yes, as Mike just said, it's
Yeah, this is I'm keeping
it's
that
too early.
one.
It's too early, and the reason that it's too early is we're actually recording this on Sunday morning, New Year's Day.
Because we hate ourselves.
Well, no, actually, I thought it was nature hating us, because our original intention was to record on Friday night.
Yeah.
And Friday night saw the entrance of so this would be December 30th. Friday night saw the entrance of a massive storm system. Friday during the day, actually, a massive storm system to the Central Valley of California here, specifically in and around the Sacramento region where we are. And while it affected my house to some degree, there was a lot of wind, a lot of rain, just, not necessarily happy conditions on Friday night. Your house, it was a bit different.
Yeah. So, there was a bit of, there was a few problems. I guess, long story short, my wife noticed the lights flickering. Well, we both noticed the lights flickering, but at one point she heard a pop outside. So we were like, this is bad news. So I went out and I heard the pop. And it turns out that the tree in my neighbor's yard, not the fault of my neighbor, by the way, I wanted to clear that up. Not the fault of my neighbor, but a tree in the neighbor's yard was swinging in the wind and causing two of the power lines on the power pole that were hanging over their yard to knock together and to smack together an arc. So we're like, what's going on? We hear this pop, pop. I look up at one point and I saw it. And so I called I heard the popping before. So I tried to call PG&E, but I was put on hold for too damn long. So I said, screw that. And I called 911. Then when I went out,
PG&E, by the way, PG&E, in case people don't know about California, and don't know about everything, people who are listening to this wherever they're listening to it, I don't know, maybe we have people in Asia listening to us, maybe South America, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, so
but anybody listening to this that doesn't know what PG&E is, from all the news stories of the lawsuits that have happened with PG&E over the last few years.
Well, I don't know how far out that's actually gotten outside of the U.S. really.
Okay, it may not have, because of all the forest fires that have happened in California. PG&E is our energy company. That's what provides us with our electricity. There's an area of Sacramento that has a different energy company. But for the majority of Northern California, California in general, PG&E is your power company. That is your only way to get electricity.
Yeah, that's the thing about power out here is power in the United States is not considered like a state utility. It's not taxed and then provided. In some countries it is. I think in most developed countries it may be. But power is not part of it's not a government provided utility. So PG&E is a power company, an independent power company that has stake in where the power lines are all over the state. And anyway, we have a state-run power company here, and then we have PG&E, and it depends on who you have, depends on where you live. You can't just choose one or the other. You have to go with whoever has power lines in your area. So for me, it's Pacific Gas and Electric. And so what happened was there was an issue with the tree that we were talking about. I called 911, and they got the police and fire department out there immediately to check it out. And we showed them where the line was that was arcing out. And then they called PG&E that night. Now, for me, for a regular customer, if you're reporting an outage or whatever, there's just a hold line. If the cops call PG&E, they're going to get a direct line immediately. And that's what happened. And crazy enough, I had called at 9, I think, or something like that, 9:30, and I think by 10 p.m. our power got shut off in our house, and we heard a saw going off out there, a chainsaw going off, because they shut off the power and they cut that tree out to keep the power lines from knocking together. And they had done it by like a half hour after we had called it, which is, if you know anything about independent power companies, most of the time it takes a hell of a lot longer for something like that to happen. But this was definitely an emergency situation, and they didn't want to take any chances, which is real nice, especially with the chances that have been taken over the last few years out in California.
Oh, yeah. So, and again, Mike had been experiencing some fluctuations in power earlier in the night. Yeah. And so, because normally we meet around 8 o'clock or so to start doing our the recording of the podcast, and he had been noticing the issues and the fluctuations. The wind had been bad, just been nasty weather, and so he was like, maybe this wouldn't be a good idea. And it was a damn good call, because that would have been interrupting us. I mean, we would have been talking on the podcast, and suddenly Mike would have been gone with the power popping, and who knows what it would have done to his computer.
The whole podcast would have been done. So with the fact that our power was flickering, and I even removed I removed everything I considered sacred enough to keep, and my computer is one of my whole life's in this thing. It's my business. It's my entire business. So I unplugged that sucker from the wall and waited for the power to come back.
Which, by the way, even though I use my computer for my business, I didn't unplug mine. But my computer cost me like $100 for the computer, the actual,
Oh yeah, mine costs a little bit more than that.
Yeah, so I didn't mind it. I mean, if for some reason I had a power thing and there was issues, I it's not as big a drop in the bucket for me to buy another $100 computer setup, because my computer doesn't do any real work. It just connects me to my workstation at work, and that does the servers and the shit that they have set up for that does all the work. Mine's just a portal. So I wasn't so worried. You definitely need to be, because you have so many things saved in there. It's not even funny. So it was a very good call to not do that, and we were like, okay, when else can we do this? And now neither one of us really. I think we're both to the age where we don't really do anything on New Year's Eve. Admittedly, I stayed up last night until midnight because my wife wanted to watch one of the New Year's Eve countdown specials. So we did stay up till after midnight, and we typically have to anyway, because we are still in one of those neighborhoods that loves to set off fireworks for crap. And of course, at midnight, bunch of fireworks shooting into the air. Which ties into the rest of the story I'm going to be telling. The fact that this morning, New Year's Day, waking up to watch the news, to see areas south of Sacramento where rivers have completely overflowed their banks. Highway 99 is shut down south of Sacramento because it's flooded over. I mean, I'm watching news helicopters showing the huge sections of the road completely flooded because the Cosumnes River just completely overflowed its banks. Because last night we got that storm that came in Friday night. It continued all the way through Saturday and came to a crescendo on Saturday evening around 5-6 o'clock at night, where 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts, huge amounts of rain being dropped, and basically half of the North Valley and half of Sacramento losing power at all the same time, including my house. I think you escaped this power loss on Saturday, right?
Yeah, we did, and I think most of it had to do with the fact that we called in PG&E the night before.
Yeah, if you hadn't got that tree taken care of, y'all would have been.
We would have been out, and there probably wouldn't have been like serious like hazardous conditions around it, because dude, there was so much rain and so much flooding. There would have been no way, like something could have gotten knocked down. There could be a power line in somebody's fucking pool right now.
Yeah. Well, we lost power last night luckily it was only for about half hour, 45 minutes. And we do have plans in place for that, because there are members of my household that do not do well with power loss.
Yeah.
We did find did find a trick for the person who has the most difficulty with power loss. We found a trick to actually keep that person entertained and happy. I'll tell you after the podcast. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was panicking a little because with the storm being as bad as it was, and especially with everything in the house shut off, no TVs running, no fans, nothing that was constantly makes this background noise of your house. All you can hear is the storm, and it was raging last night, absolutely raging. And what ended up happening is the area that I live in was actually right in between where two big storm cells formed and then kind of collided above us and then moved to the east of us. And so it was super, super nasty. Power out. I'm like, well, I'm glad we made the decision, even though we don't do anything on New Year's Eve, for us not to try to record a podcast on New Year's Eve, because that would have been great. We would have been mid podcast again and everything dead.
Yep.
And so, oh boy, this is fun. And I was talking to my wife, worried about, telling her how worried I was about the power staying out for overnight. One, the household wouldn't like it. We have to walk the grandmother around with a flashlight so that she could get back and forth to anything, because she has trouble sometimes not bumping into crap when she's walking around in bright light.
Right.
Imagine her trying to do it in the dark. So we're worried about all these, and she was downstairs, so somebody would have had to light her way to get her upstairs and then make sure she had light in her room upstairs. It's like, oh man, this is just going to be a crazy thing. And I'm like, man, I hope it's not still out tomorrow. And my wife's first thing, I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of her because she understands me. She's like, oh crap, you'll miss your football game today because it's Sunday. So even though it's New Year's Day, there is a football game today. And oh my God, I need to watch it, because I don't know if you've been following anything from hearing anything about the 49ers this year, but holy shit.
Hey man, I've been seeing the review. I've been seeing posts come up every once in a while, and I'm saying, part of me kind of called that this might be the case with what you were telling me, what he was able to pull off. Like it seemed. He's third string, isn't he? The quarterback.
Yes. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Oh my God, the shit that he is doing.
As soon as you were telling me like the guy's background, I was like, this is way different from a Kaepernick situation here. And I'm not. Again, I am no expert, obviously, here, but you can just look at the circumstances and see that they're substantially different, right? Like, and that's the part that I'm getting at is it's so. I knew as soon as like this guy's straight up like, you've already got the best defensive line in football on this team.
The best defense in football. Period.
You have the best defensive. You have the best defense in football right now on that team, and that guy's purpose is to impersonate every other team's offense. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's going to know which team's offense works best against the other team's defense, or he knows which plays that team is not used to seeing, and he switches his strategy based on that. And I'm sure he's working with the how many coaches are there? There's at least the head coach and who else?
There's tons of coaches. Actually, I think the biggest benefit that's happened is that the current quarterback's coach is a guy by the name of Brian Greasy.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Greasy is basically football royalty.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's a second generation football player. His dad was named Bob.
I've heard of Bob Greasy.
You have?
I've heard of Bob Greasy. Yeah, I've heard of Bob Greasy. Yeah, I've heard the name. You know what I mean? I've heard the name.
Well, Bob Greasy used to play for the Miami Dolphins back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, he was a quarterback for the Dolphins, and specifically, he was on the undefeated Dolphins team, the only team to ever go completely undefeated in a season and win the Super Bowl.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so this guy Brian's got some pedigree, and but anyway, Anyway, we're not. This is not 49ers talk. This is just me wanting to really see my game, especially because it's the 49ers versus the Raiders, and the Raiders have decided to bench for the last 2 games of the season their starting quarterback, and to have their backup play. So either they're protecting their franchise quarterback so he doesn't get injured against the best defense in the NFL, and then whoever else they're playing the Chiefs in their last game. So the Raiders are probably looking at, okay, we're probably going to lose these last 2 games. We really don't want Derek Carr to get beat up, because either they're going to continue with him as their franchise quarterback, or they're going to try to trade his ass away and get somebody else. I don't know, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers to come to Oakland.
Right.
Either one is a possibility. But anyway, point being, I want to watch my game. It's Niners versus Raiders, and I'm hopeful that the Niners can pull out the win. And it's always nice when the Niners beat the Raiders. The only thing that feels better is when they beat the Rams or the Seahawks. But I was worried about that. But I was also worried about my wife thought of the football game. So after 20 some odd years, I finally got her to understand how important the football games are to me. But the other thing about it was, me thinking about if the power is still out in the morning when we have already scheduled to do this, because we scheduled Friday night. We said, hey, let's do this at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. We don't go out on New Year's and go drinking, go partying. And you don't go out on New Year's to go do anything anymore, right? You're just at home. You might drink at home, but you don't go out on New Year's.
Yeah, like that's it for me. Like, I just kind of relax. I'll have like a drink or two and chill, but I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to party. I'm not going to get on a road. I'm not going to go to any shows. I do shows all year, so it's kind of a different experience for me.
So what we were looking at was, by 10 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day, we should both be awake, even if we stayed up till midnight to watch a ball drop or watch a show or a special or whatnot. We should still be able to be awake by 10 o'clock in the morning and do a show by 10 o'clock in the morning. But I'm just sitting there thinking, man, if the power is still out tomorrow morning, maybe this is a sign from the universe saying, stop the Xennial Chronicles. No more Xennial Chronicles. We're done with the Xennial Chronicles.
Good Lord, the entire thing? No, not necessarily, but...
But of course, it wasn't the power. We had like 45 minutes. Power came back on. Sat around doing a bunch of trivia questions back and forth for a while until the sister-in-law went to sleep. The wife was putting together some of her Lego stuff that she has acquired over the last few months.
Nice.
No Legos for her for Christmas. I wouldn't presume to buy her Legos for Christmas because she is very well. I before Christmas I did get her like a gigantic block of like Harry Potter Lego sets. I got her like 8 of them because I found them on sale for a really good deal.
I was going to say that's a ton of Lego sets.
Yeah, I spent a couple $100 on Lego sets for her. None of them have been made yet. They're all sitting and waiting, but some of them were being phased out, so I basically gathered all the Harry Potter ones I could find. And because Harry Potter is her main focus in Legos, this is one of the things that she's learning that she loves to do is to put together Legos. She loves doing different projects. I mean, she's done sewing for years, but she's gotten into painting things, like wooden things. She likes to paint them. Like there was for our Christmas decorations, there was a Santa Claus and a snowman and an elf. She painted those. She grabbed a couple little houses and has painted those. So it's not like she's doing creating a painting or anything. She just likes buying those wooden objects and painting them. It's relaxing for her. Same with doing Legos. It's kind of one of her Zen things, just to sit and put together Legos. So she doesn't like to create from nothing with just like a pack of Legos that you just make your own stuff. She likes the sets of different things. And so for me, it's a relaxing thing for her. She like I say, brings her to kind of her Zen. She was worried about it at one point that she has a bunch of baking supplies. She has a bunch of sewing supplies. She now has a crap ton of Legos to be able to go through. And she's looking at all of it going, I just have all this stuff. I feel so bad having all this stuff. I'm like, look at all the instruments that I have. I have, I have 3 regular acoustic guitars. One I just acquired from you that's an acoustic that has electrical components in it. I have like between the electric guitars and basses, I've got like 8 or something like that. And I mean, I have tons of guitars. I might even have, I have almost probably as much guitars as you, if not more. I know I have more bass guitars than you because I have like 4 bass guitars.
Yeah, I have. Technically, I have 2. One is being borrowed, so I have 1.
Yeah. So, but like you play way more music than I do. You are also way better at playing music than I am. Like way better. There's not even there was one time it went back when you were our roommate that maybe I was close to your level. I still think I knew one thing you didn't know how to do, but I still think even back then you played guitar better than me. I just knew one thing you didn't, and I could show you the one thing that I knew. Beyond that, I've never been very good at playing the guitar. Admittedly, I have not put a lot of time into it either. But it's a combination of I'm not nearly as naturally talented as some people, and I have not put even close to the amount of time in it that most people that really play do. But it's my sin to have them to be able to pick whichever one up I want to play at any given time. This is also why I have not invested a lot of money in amplifiers. I have fairly inexpensive amplifiers. I don't have anything really, really nice. I haven't invested a lot of money in effects pedals or anything like that. Eventually I want to buy an effects pedal that does a whole lot of things for not a whole lot of money. It doesn't need to sound the best. It just needs to sound good enough that I can, have some fun with it. But I'm not, that it's more about sitting and being able to play when I feel the zen moment needing to play.
Yeah.
As opposed to, this is not something I'm going to do professionally or make a career out of. I know I'm not good enough to do that, and I don't have the time or the will to put in to do that. And I understand that. I can be enough to have fun with it and maybe do a little something with other people. But, if it takes me the next 15 years to write a bunch of songs, that may be what it is. And that'll be my accomplishment is, hey, I wrote a bunch of songs. I can record them. And yay, I have something to show for myself. Who's going to listen to it? Me and whoever else plays on it, and maybe 1 or 2 other people. I'm not going to do anything with it, but it'll be my accomplishment. But that's my zen. So I'm like, you see, how much money I spent on all those. They just kind of sit there the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go and look at them and pick them up, play them each individually. I can take those moments of zen because I've gathered that stuff. That's what this is for you. Those are your moments. So yeah, she was doing one of her Legos last night. We watched one of the New Year's Eve shows. It was the Miley Cyrus one. Which is fine. I like Miley. Dolly Parton was hosting with her. A bunch of SNL people were on it, so that was hilarious.
Nice.
There was a funny moment where Miley and Dolly were training Chloe Fineman and it's Sarah is her first name. The comedian, I don't remember her last name. She's a newer one on SNL.
Sarah Sherman.
Sarah Sherman. There you go.
Yes, she's the one that
she's hilarious.
I think she does. She's the one that goes on Weekend Update and just straight up just trolls the hell out of Colin, right?
Well, they all do nowadays, which is hilarious.
Oh, there's direct. I'll have to throw you a one of the sketches she does. If I remember correctly, I think she's the one she directly will ask him a question and he'll respond with a proper response, and then she turns it around into some major trolling political satire or something like that against him, making him look as bad as she possibly can, right in front of him. It's some good stuff. It's super funny. The execution is fantastic. She's one of my favorite cast members so far, of the new cast great. For sure. Mm-hmm.
She's great. She's hilarious. And she was actually really funny in this. They did a little sketch last night where they're being trained as understudies for Miley and Dolly. And so Chloe Fineman's being trained as Miley's understudy.
Okay.
And she's just doing the exaggerated Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus voice.
Right.
Which is hilarious. Miley at one point tries to get her to sing some of Wrecking Ball. She refuses. Sarah Sherman is being Dolly's understudy, and she's not getting the voice right until she tries to sing something, and she does some of the singing of Jolene, and I don't know if it is really her doing it or they had somebody else do it and she just lip synced it, but it was fantastic.
Oh, really?
I think maybe part of the joke would have been that somebody else did it. But then they have them dress as them. So Chloe Fineman dresses as Miley, looks perfect, great. It's all wonderful. Sarah Sherman goes to dress up as Dolly Parton, wearing the same dress as her, comes out in the same dress, and a wig on, full wig on like Dolly. The makeup looks good, the wig looks good, the dress looks good, and Dolly's like, yeah, that's great. That's great. Sarah's like, yeah, that's great. Dolly's like, I think there's a little something missing. Sarah's like, yeah, there's something missing. And she kind of gestures towards her chest area.
Of course.
And then they cut back to her coming back out again with gigantic boobs.
That's fantastic.
Like, yes. Dolly's like, yes, that's perfect. That's great. And then she spins around and knocks a bunch of stuff off of a shelf, knocks a bunch of glasses off a shelf. And Dolly's like, that happens to me all the time. I do that.
Oh my God. That's great.
It's great. So, I mean, Dolly Parton, awesome still to this day. The last song they did before it hit midnight, they did Miley and Dolly together doing Wrecking Ball.
Oh,
which was fantastic.
Wow.
But then when it goes to the bridge of Wrecking Ball, instead of "I will always want you" at the end of the bridge, and then it goes into the final chorus.
Right.
No, Dolly sang "I will always love you," and then went into a rendition of "I will always love you" with fucking Miley Cyrus singing it with her.
Holy shit. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, no, that was fucked up. That was some fucked up, sneaky stuff. Because I'm watching it, going, "This is awesome," and then Dolly says it. Dolly sings it, just the one line at the end, "I will always love you," and I'm like, "Oh, fuckberries."
Oh, you come on, man! You knew it was going to happen at one point.
I hoped it wouldn't. I was really hoping they wouldn't do that. I was hoping they'd just end the damn song, and it was like, but no, they did that. They pulled a sneaky on me. So for the next, 2 minutes, I'm just sitting there bawling as my wife is sitting enjoying and trying her hardest not to look at me as I am bawling my eyes out.
Aww.
Yeah, I was sneaky Dolly. But anyway, of course, New Year's happened to be, actually today happens to be one week removed from Christmas, which is part of the reason that we took our kind of little break that we did for the holidays, for Christmas, for all the family things involved. You going to see your family, me having my family over here, because I don't go to see nobody. They come to me. Actually, I just don't go to see anybody. And if they come to me, they do. If they don't, they also don't. I love my family, but I'm more worried about my wife and my kids and the people that live in my house. That's just me. Other people, I understand their need to go. Although I do still think that people who get mad because there's airport delays in the wintertime, during inclement weather and holiday travel, people get mad like, I can't, my flight has been, pushed back 6 hours or whatnot. You're flying during wintertime and during Christmas time. You're never going to get your flight on time. You're stupid to be angry about it. I understand if you want to fly and do that. There's nobody that I like enough to fly to go see. Honestly, completely honest. Nobody I like enough to fly to go see. But I know that other people do have those family they want to fly and go see. I get that.
Right.
But and I get doing it during the holidays if you want to. Again, I think it's the stupidest time you possibly could. But if that's what you want to do, because that's what you need for your holiday, great. But you don't get to bitch when flights are delayed or canceled or whatever, when you're flying at the busiest and worst time to fly humanly possible.
Oh, well, okay, so there's a certain level to that I would consider. Are you considering the extremity to which this stuff happened on a more recently? Is that what you're talking about, like the whole Southwest thing?
Admittedly, the Southwest thing is more of an anomaly, but you get this every year that people bitch and complain.
Oh, for sure. But this is like, to consider. Okay, so to a degree, I would say yes. If you're bitching about, American or Delta at this time of year, yeah, especially with what's going on with them, just the holiday season, shit happens.
The massive storms that were happening over like the eastern part of the United States,
right? But Southwest's mistake was different. Their issue was that they were using an archaic computer system that hadn't been updated for decades. And the problem was that, to give you an idea, collectively, I think between every company except for Southwest, I think there was a cancellation rate of like 5% of their flights or something like that. It was an obscurely low number. Shit happens. Flights get canceled. And they get canceled more often now than they do at other times due to bad weather. Yeah. Southwest had 70% of their flights canceled. 70. And the reason why was because when there's, really bad weather or something like that, sometimes a flight has to be rerouted to a different time to hit the same airport, or the pilot needs to change course and go to another airport because the airport is, you can't land there because of the weather, or some other shit goes down. Normally, a system is automated that tells the pilot where to go, or there is some ability to get into contact with someone. Once a pilot has to change course on a flight, it changes what happens at that airport. That airport has to then move its other flights around. It's, when you get a flight delay, it's by 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour. The reason why that happens is because there are other pilots or there are other flights that end up having to get rerouted sometimes. And so that airport has to accommodate for the fact there's another surprise plane coming in. And then what happens is they take and they rearrange the flights so that people that are trying to hit their flight as close as they can so that they can then, if the flight is rerouted or whatever. It's basically just to allow to accommodate for the fact that planes may be coming in at haphazard times. The problem with Southwest flights is that their system crashed on itself. And so there was zero guidance for days. And so what happened was there were massive backlogs of people crowding the airports because there was no system in place that wasn't entirely completely broken. So to a degree, I agree with you because shit's going to happen. Flights are going to get canceled. That's what happens when the weather gets shitty. However, we have seen one of the worst Midwestern weather situations in decades.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
On top of the fact that Southwest's computer system didn't know what to do because, let's say much like what PG&E did, they didn't invest in their system infrastructure. They could have gotten an updated system. The thing is, every other fucking company updated systems that allowed them to navigate the same situation without much problem. Much more than what is normally an occurrence, considering the extremity of the weather that happened. All the rest of those companies were able to do what they were supposed to do. Southwest, unfortunately, didn't invest in the same thing, so they saw the consequences, and those consequences came down to the people that booked flights with them. Normally, Southwest is, most of the flights I've done to go see family, to go see my wife's family out that way, and I've flown out to see them once or twice, and every time I've gone, Southwest is the flight that we take because they're the most affordable and because they're the easiest to work with. They're very, very simple. All the rest of them have these weird caveats and stuff. But that could be why they weren't charging so much, because they were using old computer systems, and it came back to bite them in the ass.
I can say I've never flown Southwest.
Oh, you haven't? Well, yeah, but you don't fly.
I've never been on a plane, actually.
You've never been on a plane yourself?
Never been on a plane.
Okay, yeah.
Again, there is nobody that I like enough to get on a plane to go see. I mean, I have a brother that lives in Ohio, and that's great. I'm not going to get on a plane to go see him. I mean, he's my brother, so I love him. But I'm not going to get on a plane to go see him. There's also the fact that I've never been able to afford a plane ticket. But, because basically, for the majority of my adult life, I've been a parent. So I haven't been able to afford anything until recently. But no, yeah, and I'm sorry, I would rather spend all my money on guitars and Lego sets and vinyl records than go and get a plane ticket. It's like, I love you, man, and it'd be great to see you, but I also love having these things, and I want these things more than I want to see you. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I'm a terrible person, I know.
God. No, not at all. Look, man, if you're within the continental United States, and hell, I mean, can't you take a boat to Hawaii? No, Hawaii is pretty far out there, isn't it?
I'm not. I will.
You won't get on a boat either, huh?
Dude, I will fly to Maine before I fly to Hawaii. And I have no reason to go to Maine. Zero reason to go to Maine, but I will fly to Maine before I fly to Hawaii.
Why?
Because I'd rather crash over dry land than crash over the ocean.
That's fair.
Because I am terrified of flipping water. I do not want to be flying over the ocean.
Would you take a plane to Maine, or would you take a boat to Hawaii?
I would not try and get me on a boat. Try. See what happens to you.
The reason why I ask is because if it's within the continental United States, it might take you a week, but you could fucking drive out there. There's no reason to take a plane at that point, aside from the fact that it saves you a ton of time.
I'm not. Let's make. But this
I mean,
clear.
if you got the time,
I'm not afraid of flying in a plane. Not afraid of it at all. There's no fear of flying in a plane. There's just no desire to spend the money.
There obviously has to be.
Also,
if you have to measure the level of worth of taking a plane to go see somebody.
Well, also having to stay somewhere other than my own home. I don't like sleeping in other places.
Okay, so what you're saying is aside from you're saying taking a plane, the issue you have with taking a plane is not getting on the plane.
No,
the issue you have is with being able to go back home when you're done.
Yes. If I had the financial wherewithal to take a private jet somewhere and to go, have like a much shortened flight because it's a direct flight in a private jet,
legit,
and spend a few hours with the people that I want to see, and then fly directly home and sleep in my own bed and poo in my own bathroom for the night. Hell yes, I would do that all the time. That wouldn't bother me at all. Now, flying to Hawaii, never going to happen. I won't fly over the water. I'll fly over land, not a problem. I'm not flying over the water. And it's the fear of the water, not the fear of the plane.
That I understand.
It's the fear of the water.
I completely understand that.
That, and I don't want to be on a small island like Hawaii. Like, I'm not stupid enough to realize, I'm not stupid enough like many people who think that like islands are, there are people, Mike, that think that islands float. That they float on top of the water.
Well, they don't.
No, they don't. They're basically they're the top of gigantic fucking mountains.
They're mountains under the water. That's what they are. You're looking at mountaintops underneath the water. That's how they work.
It doesn't matter to me.
Bro, there's people that think the fucking Earth is flat still. It's 2023.
There are those people. First time you got to say that one, huh?
I know, right?
Yeah, scary.
You know what? I'm good with. I'm good with using it's 2023 to like clap back at flat earthers. I'm okay with that.
That works for me. But no, it's just and the idea of being on an island where I get that basically continents are giant islands. I get that. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But like where we are in the Central Valley of California, we are more than far enough away from the ocean that like literally the big island of Hawaii, you could drive from one side of the island to the other side of the island in less time than it takes for us to drive from where we're at to the ocean. That is way too little land and way too much water for me. No.
That's fair.
My fear of water is I can't even watch movies where there's extended amount of time underwater without having like some anxiety watching the movie. It freaks me out. Can't stand it. Like even movies that are great movies. I had trouble watching Finding Nemo because it's all underwater. That freaks me out. It's a genuine phobia. And as I know enough about the Pacific Ocean to know that I cannot touch bottom and have my head above water. It's a little too deep for that.
A little bit.
So yeah, no Hawaii. I have no desire to go to Hawaii ever.
Fair.
Besides, what am I going to do on the island of Hawaii? I'm not going to go snorkeling. I'm not going to go surfing. I'm not going to go swimming in admittedly what is very pristine and beautiful water on amazing beaches there. I'm not going to go do any of that. So what am I going to do? I'll eat a bunch of food.
I was going to say you're going to eat seafood and then pay too much for milk. That's what you're going to do. And
half the seafood that they serve there, I probably won't eat anyway because I'm very picky about what seafood I eat. So I mean, yeah, right. There's zero reason for me to go to Hawaii. That is not a destination for me. But again,
although I will say that I would like to at least once see like a barbecue with a fully spit roasted pig, at least once.
I know people that do that though.
That's great.
I know restaurants in Sacramento area where you can get that.
I would like to see that at least. I've never actually seen one.
Me neither, but agree. I would like that. That would be the big highlight is the full roasted hog. Hell yes.
Yeah, the full roasted hog with like the full like out on the beach with the whole thing. Like I think that'd be dope as hell.
Giant hole in the ground.
Yep.
Hell yeah. No, that would be the only real highlight for me is that. Everything else I could care less about. I have no real reason to go there. So just find somebody from Hawaii that's on the mainland now that's doing a luau and is making full roasted hog, I'm there. I'm hanging out with you. I'm your howly friend. Okay, that's all good. But yeah, no. I can, I can do enough. I can do enough little bit of some pigeon to get into the party and be okay. Just be like, how's it, brah? That's enough right there. That's all you need. You don't say how you doing. You don't say what's up. How's it, brah? You're good.
I would avoid brah. I would avoid brah. I would avoid brother. I would not say those things if you're out there.
I wouldn't do it in Hawaii. I'd do it here on the mainland. If I know a dude on the mainland, you know what I'm saying? It's from Hawaii. I've had a friend who was from Hawaii. Admittedly, he was a white guy.
Just don't say that while you're out there, bro.
But still. I got family. Anyway. So, back to what we were talking about, Christmas holidays. We took our time for Christmas holiday, spent some time with our families, relative families and whatnot. And I don't know. I think I had a pretty good Christmas. Did you have yourself a pretty good Christmas, sir?
I did. I had actually a very nice Christmas. I went to go see the parents. Went to go hang out with family. It was nice. Got some cool gifts. I got myself
no gifts yet. No gifts yet.
No gifts yet.
Get there.
Oh, okay. We're getting okay.
We're gonna get there. I was lucky enough to have my wife's stepfather, who had lived with us for a little while. We had discussed that here on the podcast a little bit. Mm-hmm. My wife's stepfather, who had lived with us, him and his wife, girlfriend, I'm not sure exactly what the definition of the relationship is at this point in time. I know that they did get married because I did the ceremony for them to get married and sign the paperwork. Mm-hmm. And then I think they might have divorced, but now they're back together. I don't know what the specifics of how they're saying it is, but they're together. They live together. They're a family together. The two of them came over on Christmas Eve and brought sugar cookies to decorate for everybody in the house. That was fun. And the sugar cookies were really good. And let's be clear. I don't tell people that their food is really good unless their food is really good. If I make very little commentary about your food, it's probably not the best thing I've had, and I'm just trying to be nice by not saying anything. I'm taking Thumper's dad's advice on things. If I do say your food is good, I will never tell a single person that food of theirs that I am eating is good unless it is actually good. I will not lie about that. I'll just not say anything if I don't think it's very good. It may be good for them. They may love the taste of it. I may not, and I know that I am super, super picky. I understand that about myself. So, again, if I don't like something, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that I'm a picky little asshole, and I just don't personally like it. That's why I don't try to hurt people's feelings by saying that I don't like the food. If people push me, tell me what you think about it. I might say it's all right. If you push me more, I'll tell you what I really think about it. But I'm going to try not to, because I don't want to hurt your feelings unless I specifically do. And then I'll tell you that your food is shit. But normally I don't want to hurt people's feelings. People take a lot of pride in the things that they cook. fairly, I am just as judgmental on my food as I am on anybody else's food. But I'm actually more so judgmental on mine, because I don't care if I say that my food is shit. I'll say it. And I'm the first one to sit down and start taking bites of my food and be like, okay, that wasn't done right. That wasn't done exactly right. And I'll have people around me, no, they taste great. I'm like, I'm glad you think they taste great. They are not done right. They are not done the way I expected them to be. This mouthful of food is not what I wanted it to be when I made this. So again, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm thankful you enjoy it. You don't have to tell me that you enjoy it to try to make me feel better. I don't feel bad. I'm just, a little disappointed that I didn't get it exactly the way I wanted it to be. I'm as harsh a critic to myself as I'm actually more harsh critic to myself again, because I know I can take it. I know I can insult my own food and I'm okay with it. Because I know, it didn't meet up to the standards I wanted it to. I'm still going to eat it unless it's completely awful. And then if it's completely awful, I'll just stop everybody from eating it. Like, no, you don't want to eat this. My food is awful. I screwed this up really badly. It's being thrown away. But again, I'll be the same on everything. So if I say something, if I actively tell you that something that you've made is good, then it's good. Because I won't tell people that just because I don't want to, I don't want to hurt feelings, but I also don't want to give, false things about that. These were really good cookies. They were really good. They were probably the second best sugar cookies I've ever had. And sugar cookies are a strange thing for me, because there's a lot of people that like like at Walmart, you can get them super soft sugar cookies that have the icing on top.
Mm-hmm. Those are my favorites. Oh my God. Oh my God. I went out of my way to go get myself a package of those this year.
Now my wife loves them. My oldest child loves them, and you get a package of those. I'll eat one and be just like, it's still a sugar cookie, but that package disappears within like a couple of hours.
In
this household.
Oh yeah,
because between my wife and the oldest kid, they just devour that package of cookies.
Yeah, the package of cookies stays in my house for probably at like 2 or 3 days, and that's because, as much as I like them, they tend to be very dry. So I'll have like one every once in a while. Like I really like them, but I'm not just gonna go mowing them all down at once. And my wife doesn't like them too much, so they're all mine. So I get one of those packs, and they last a few days, which is nice. It's nice.
Now, I prefer a sugar cookie that's a little more firm. I don't want them to be like rock hard by any means, but I like them to have a little more firmness to them.
Mm-hmm.
There was one year that my wife made sugar cookies for us to decorate at home, and they were perfect. They were just the perfect firmness to them that they would they were strong enough to hold up, but then you wouldn't be smushing off a piece, you'd be breaking off a piece, but they weren't hard to try to chew. They just the perfect firmness. And they were perfect, fantastic, great flavor. Best sugar cookie she ever made. Best sugar cookies I ever had. The ones I had on Christmas Eve that were brought by whatever her title is, for the kids anyway. Her title is Grandma, so we'll say the kids' grandma. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
For my kids, the cookies that she made and brought over for us to decorate, second best that I've had. Second best.
Oh, wow.
I even told her that they were the second best ones that I'd ever had. That my wife had made ones that were better than this, but these are the second best. And I told her, you don't know me well enough yet, because she hasn't got to know us well enough yet. So you don't know me well enough yet, but that's not something I tell people.
Yeah, second best is a high compliment. Yeah.
If I'm saying that, like one of my wife's sisters, the one that lives in Texas currently.
Mm-hmm.
The one you've spent a lot of time around back when she lived here.
Mm-hmm.
She makes she calls them, or her family calls them Mexican wedding cookies. They're the little cookies that are kind of half semicircle cookies kind of thing, with they're covered in powdered sugar, and they're basically a shortbread cookie with almonds in it, crushed up almonds in them, and they're covered completely in powdered sugar.
Oh my God.
What?
You're not. I mean, she's not technically wrong. I've seen them at every Mexican wedding I've ever been to.
Yeah, that's I've heard
wrong.
them called a bunch of different things, but that's what they refer to them as.
That's legit. Oh my God, that's
yeah.
I never thought about that. That's one thing that you never think about, but that's a hell of an observance.
But those are generally some of my favorite cookies. I love those cookies. She used to make the best version of those cookies that I ever had. They were so good. And like you leave me a 10 of those cookies, they're gone. I will devour those things. I can't stop myself. They're so
good though.
They are so good.
They're good.
And she made the very best ones I ever had. Whenever she made those, I was like, yes, I need some of those.
Mm-hmm.
This year, my youngest sister made my dad's microwave peanut brittle recipe that I used to make when I was a kid. Made some fudge. The fudge turned out fantastic. Very, very good. Not the best I've ever had, but very good, especially for her first time making it. The peanut brittle, she did perfect. She made it exactly to have the same flavor and same consistency and snap to it that our dads did when we were growing up. She did fantastic with it. I let her know. Again, I don't let people know these things unless it's the truth. If I tell you the food is good, that means I really think that it's good. Doesn't mean that it's technically good, because who knows whether my taste buds mean anything as far as the culinary world is concerned. I am one of those people that cilantro tastes like soap to me. So I'm just saying for my opinion, it's good. I like it. That's what it's saying. If I tell you it's good, I like it.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was nice. We had that, and then of course the next day, Christmas dinner with Christmas lunch, because it wasn't dinner, it was at lunchtime, with the worst apple pie that I've ever had because it was store bought, and a decent pecan pie.
Wait, just because it was store bought, or
no, actually,
or was it like one of the worst store bought apple pies you've ever had?
No, the worst store bought apple pie I've ever had. But it's also worse because it was store bought, because I'm spoiled and I prefer homemade apple pies.
Yeah, nothing replaces a homemade apple pie for sure.
I won't even eat a store bought pumpkin pie anymore. Screw that. My wife makes way too good of a homemade pumpkin pie.
So why? Okay, so if I may ask, like, what made this so bad then? Like, if it's the worst, throwing the fact that it's store bought in is a factor, and I understand because there's certain,
seeds.
Are you fucking serious?
Apple that didn't even the texture wise, it didn't even feel like it was cooked all the way through, because they were like crunchy enough to have been cut straight off the apple. And
what the fuck? Hold on. So it was an undercooked apple pie with seeds in it?
Yep, it was awful.
No, hell no.
Yeah. It was awful. We each had a piece, or some of us had a piece on Christmas Day. We threw that pie out Christmas night. It was so bad we threw it out.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was awful.
Okay, yeah, no, okay. I tend to take some of the things that you say with a bit of a grain of salt. Like, I hear sometimes some of the things you say with some level of extremity. That sounds like the worst fucking pie I've ever heard of. The worst apple pie, like you just described the worst apple pie.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. I've never even had a pie like that. I've never had an apple pie like that. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was awful. But otherwise,
I'm impressed at how bad that was. Holy shit.
Even the grandmother didn't eat it. And grandmother, like, she eats most any desserts if she can. She doesn't eat a lot of them because she's been diabetic for years, and we've gotten her to a point where she's able to occasionally have sweet and sugary foods, but it is very, very occasional, like literally holidays and holidays, and every about once a month or so we slip her a few like fun size pieces of real candy to get back to being able to try real candy instead of just sugar-free shit all the time.
Right.
And she can't even drink full sugared soda because it's too sweet for her. So yeah, no, even she was complaining about it. So, and she eats like I said, she eats the weirdest shit. And she couldn't handle that pie. My dad didn't even eat his apple pie. Now, if my dad's not eating apple pie, that's saying something.
Oh yeah.
Because pie is his best friend. Especially fruit pie. He goes just about any fruit pie. He's just like, yes, I will take that. But no, a successful Christmas lunch thing, successful Christmas Day. Everybody was happy. Everybody got gifts and enjoyed their gifts. And that's the thing that I wanted to discuss was, since it's about us and our Christmas, we took our Christmas break. You mentioned you got some good gifts. I figure we could discuss our gifts, especially because my gifts center on, I got few things beyond there was one main theme and then a couple of outlying things on, that weren't connected to the main theme. But my gifts are centered on something that has been heavily discussed here on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, one of my gifts is pretty centered around that as well.
Did you want to start?
Sure. I had a most of my I didn't have a lot really going on this year, but I will say that I did very much enjoy what I got. I got a new beanie, which is always fun. This is like a cool little like design beanie. It's like double sided, so you could turn it inside out, and it's got a skull pattern with like octopus tentacles coming out the front of it. It's a little Cthulhu-ish without actually being a Cthulhu mask type thing. I do have a beanie that is also a Cthulhu mask as well that I use during Halloween.
Nice.
But this is like it's got like a Cthulhu skull pattern on it, but it looks very, the way it's done though is it's more nautical, I guess. In design. It's super cool. I like it. And then on top of that, let's see, tons of, I got the whole summer sausage and cheese and cracker package, and that was awesome.
I had to pick out, because I pick out for the grandmother, I pick out the stuff that goes in the stockings for myself, my wife, and the sister-in-law who lives here.
Mm-hmm.
She just has me buy the stuff for us. Basically, that's one of the things she takes care of for us for Christmas is she takes care of the stuff that goes in our stockings. We get the stuff in her stocking and then get the stuff in the kids' stockings. Obviously, we're the parents. We need to get stuff in our kids' stockings. That's one of her kind of gifts to us other adults in the house, her grandkids, basically, is getting their stocking stuff. And I found myself one of the it was like one of those, the candy cane, the fake plastic candy canes that have candy in them usually. You know what I'm talking about, right? They're like the tube that looks kind of like a candy cane.
The candy cane shaped tubes got like peanut butter cups and M&Ms and stuff in them.
Yeah, Rolos, sweet tarts, that kind of thing. I found one that had like Rolos in it for my wife, and one that had I think I did Milky Way for the sister-in-law because she got a whole bunch of peanut butter cups. That's her big thing is peanut butter cups. So I got her some Milky Way, which she also likes for her. But I found one that had one summer sausage and two little white cheddar things in it.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a smaller summer sausage. Yeah, because I love the summer sausage.
Oh yeah, the summer sausage stuff is great.
We both love the sausage.
The gourmet, the little jar of gourmet mustard that comes in some of them. Like that.
I don't typically like the mustard, but I get the appeal for people who do. It's a cool little thing.
Oh yeah, they're great. So let's see, I got one of those. I also got a copy of the other Stone Temple Pilots album that I was trying to find. The Walmart exclusive edition of Core, which is
nice.
It's the red and black splatter one, and it's so sick looking.
Nice.
And then after that, we got a little bit of cash, so we went and did a little bit of holiday spending, of course. And
nice.
Over at our favorite little record shop that sits out in Rockland, they were having a huge clearance. And I picked up some really obscure like stuff that I don't think that you would necessarily dig on, especially with who was kind of around there with who they're associated with, but I picked up some cool little vinyl for like 50 cents a piece because they were clearing out like they're clearing out their end. Fuck it, I'll say who they are. So James and I like this place in Rockland called the Audio Nerd, and they're a used record shop, and they're awesome, and they sell all of the things, but they sell they've got tape machines in there, and they've got whole vintage stereo systems and speakers and like all this kind of stuff in there, but they have a side area for years, they've called the Annex, which is just basically another location in the same block of stores that
you
has
the Annex sale.
Oh yeah, I took over. I went ham in the Annex sale, and dude, they had cassettes and CDs and video games and stuff all in there. I picked up something for you, by the way, as well. I know I verified it with you, so I can let you. I can let people know that I picked you up a bit of a gift because it was 50 fucking cents, and it was in top shape. When I saw it, it was like, oh my god, it's Bridge on the River Kwai on Laserdisc.
And I have a Laserdisc player.
I knew you had one. So, and it was funny because I looked at it to check it for quality. It's the first time I had ever actually physically held a Laserdisc in my hand. I didn't know how thick those bastards are. Those boys are thick. They are huge. They are literally, if you were to take a CD and not even the middle spindle blows up in size the same, at the same ratio. The middle spindle hole on a Laserdisc is like proportionately the same size as a regular CD in relation to the size of the disc. And Laserdiscs are the size of 12-inch vinyl records. They're 12 inches long, and they're fucking huge, and they're crazy thick. I can see how Laserdisc kind of went the way the dinosaur once DVD went once DVD hit because it was, it's more data and a smaller package and blah 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 blah. But that just blew my mind how big those things are and how resilient they have to be. Especially being the fact that they were like, how long were laser discs out? Like only like a few years?
They had about I'm going to say a 10-year run.
Man, like, I'm curious how many like laser discs actually suffer from like disc rot and stuff. But I am very curious about seeing like what this looks like in relation to other mediums at that time, like a laser disc versus, boy, that's a terrible, a terrible slur, stutter. A laser disc versus a DVD. Like, what is the visual quality difference? Is it major? Can you see it? It's about the same. I just think it's fascinating to look at something the size of a record. And it's double-sided, too. Like, it's stupid. Like, how many minutes are on one side of a laser disc?
I'm not sure, but I do know that the biggest difference came at the time. You need to understand, laser discs came out before DVDs did.
Yeah.
So the difference between a laser disc and what you got off of a VHS tape was literally like the difference between VHS and DVD as far as clarity and quality.
Oh man,
and that was a big deal at the time.
Did you know that there were? I didn't know this, and I actually saw this. I'm going to shoot you a video of it. There's a guy I follow on YouTube called Linus Tech Tips. He's just like he looks into archaic tech a lot of the time and how people solve problems with certain technologies. Did you know that there was a hi-fi VHS media format?
Yeah.
And that its format, like the VHS format that came out around that time, it was super expensive to make and the players were like crazy expensive and stuff. But apparently the hi-fi VHS format damn near rivals Blu-ray. In its quality output, you actually see a lot of details that don't show up in Blu-ray. And some stuff he showed, the video I'll send you is one I think he was doing. Oh my goodness, I can't think of what the movie was. Anyway, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you and show you. Like, he does a side by side, and if you could see this on like a full size television set, you can actually see like the details of difference and stuff. It's insane. Really fascinating stuff. But anyway,
not surprising.
Anyway, I ended up, taking a little shopping spree over at our favorite little record store and picked up some killer stuff. Like I picked up an Alan Parsons album, a Rick Wakeman album. Neither of those people I'm pretty sure that you're very familiar with. And I also picked up another album from a band from 1969 by Lydia Pence and Cold Blood, which they're out here. They're like based in San Francisco. I do sound for them, like when they come out to like Swabbies and stuff.
Dude,
and
get that shit signed,
dude. That's what I'm saying. I want to do that. I actually super want to do that. I hope that I can actually get it signed because it would be dope. Like, she's still around. She's still doing her thing. The band is fucking awesome. Fantastic. Like, super soulful stuff. Like, think like the vein of like Aretha Franklin meets Janis Joplin type of stuff. And she's still doing her thing and she kicks ass at it. And every one of the members of her band kick ass at it. So it's really cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty much my Christmas. My wife for Christmas got a pots and pans set and a grip of Pokemon cards.
Hold on a second now.
What?
Did she want the pots and pans set?
The pots and pans set was a white elephant gift.
Okay. Okay. I don't see anything elephantine about it, but all right. They're really, really big.
My white elephant gift was a Snoop Dogg cookbook.
That's a stellar gift, right? Man.
My dad got it first. He was just like, okay, well, if anybody opens up anything and wants a Snoop Dogg cookbook, here you go. And I'm like, I'm taking that bitch. Because he went before me. And so I stole that so he could open up another gift.
Oh, okay. That was kind of like the Christmas party I had with work where they did the ornament exchange thing.
Mm-hmm.
You put in an ornament and then you get a number and the ornaments are wrapped.
Yeah.
You get a number and, when your number's up, you pull the ornament and unwrap it and everybody sees it. And then people can steal the ornaments. And if your ornament is stolen, you grab another one. And
okay, yeah,
it was somewhat fun. I've never been to Christmas parties that do those type of things. the whole, those type of gift things. It's never been one my family's Christmas party experience. Admittedly, my family is relatively small, so I mean, at this point, the only people that I really consider, other than the people under my roof, the only people I consider my personal family, not my wife's family necessarily, but my personal family, that I would see on holidays. I have two older brothers that I don't see because they live far enough away, but it's literally my dad, my one sister and her 3 kids, and the other sister and her husband and her 1 kid. That's my family. So I have a very, very small family. So yeah, we don't do those standard, the where you take names or you do Secret Santa. We don't do any of those things.
Gotcha.
Because it's just a small group. But the ornament thing was fun at work because I ended up with the ornament I ended up with is okay. It's just a ball ornament that says nice-ish.
That's pretty good.
But there was a Grogu ornament that everybody thought that I was going to try to snag, and then everybody also thought that I had brought to the party. But actually, because it was Star Wars, and that's all that people really know about me at work is that I love Star Wars.
Is that you're the Star Wars guy? Yeah,
I'm the Star Wars guy that knows way too much about Star Wars. But then I actually ended up bringing a Harry Potter ornament that was fought over very heavily. I was just, I know next year I'm going to bring something a little more exotic, something a little more weird, because seeing what was there was some nice, cute, pretty ornaments, but I want to bring something weird to the party.
Okay.
Not weird that'll get me a talking to at HR, but like just something that doesn't make sense to be there. Similar to some of the ornaments that I own. I mean, I have a hamburger ornament. It's literally just a hamburger. This year, my ornament was a Spam can.
That is so on brand, dude.
Oh yeah. When the wife saw the Spam can, she's like, "This is your ornament. You have to get this." I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of do. I kind of have to have this." So I'm thinking something in that kind of a vein where it's just like, why is this an ornament? And just be weird, because that's me. I'm more weird than I am. As much as I love the Star Wars stuff, I am a little more weird.
I can.
But anyway,
I say that makes sense.
I by the way, did enjoy my company's Christmas stuff that happened. First time I've dealt with office space Christmas party. I ended up coming out of it with 3 cans of beer, which was nice. IPAs though, which I'm not a huge fan of IPAs, but I had one of them last night. It was all right. But hey, come out of it with 3 cans of beer. I guess that's good. And then a whole bunch of cards and little individual candies from all the different people in the office. Nice. I was kind of, being my first year working in any kind of an office setting, I kind of sat back and wanted to see what everybody else did in the office setting. What they got for each other, how it all played out. So I know that next year I need to get a list of everybody's name, because I don't know everybody's name still, and I probably won't next year. And I need to get cards, and I need to get little pieces of candy to be able to give people, because that seems to be what everybody does for each other. And so I need to make sure I get that done. And then for the people that are in my specific department, I need to get them specific things, including two of the lovely ladies that work in the billing department with me. Both got me small gifts. You know about this because I sent them to you. They both got me the exact same thing.
Right.
And by doing so, they initiated me into my wife's cult. Because they both got me a 3-in-1, because men's stuff is always 3-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
A 3-in-1, bath soap, liquid bath soap thing. So it's, it's hair, body, and face, because that's all we men need apparently. Although I actually have, from the line of soaps and stuff that I buy, I have something specifically for my hair. I have something specifically for my beard, and I have something specifically for my body. But whatever. Apparently we don't need that because we're just men. But of course these products, both the exact same scent, exact same product, were from Bath and Body Works. Now, for those of you who don't know why I'm saying it that way, and I'm saying that now I'm part of my wife's cult, please look back into our history of videos on YouTube or our podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. And we have discussed at length the obsession that my wife has with Bath and Body Works, and the fact that we went to IKEA and got a Flurgan so that she could put all of her Bath and Body Works stuff somewhere because it was just overflowing. Because there was so much. Speaking of which, she went to the sale this week that they were having, the after Christmas sale, to get more stuff. Because apparently there was a scent that she didn't have.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe, but whatever. So I got these two things from these ladies. I let them know that my wife will be very thankful that I'm now a part of her cult. I sent the pictures. They looked at me strangely. I sent the pictures to my wife to show her what I got. She was laughing and in the greatest spirits possible that now I'm a part of things. However, I played the trick on her. I brought the stuff home. I had it sitting over by my chair for a little while, and then it disappeared from over by my chair. And I'm sure my wife was wondering where it was until she went to check her Flurgan. Because I put them on the Flurgan. Like, they need to stay with their buddies. They need to feel like they have a home. She's like, you put that stuff there? I'm like, yeah. Are you going to use it? I don't know, but that's where it belongs right now. That's where the Bath and Body Works stuff goes. She just kind of glared at me. So, Christmas, it was nice to see the Christmas office, thing. It was, very well done, very involved. I, feel good about it. Got some good stuff. A lot of little candies. It was great. But it shows me what I need to be prepared to do next year. Now, on to my Christmas, right? Are we there yet? We good?
Yes.
Okay. So, my wife made it a point this year that this is the first time, though I know we've talked about this before, but I don't get a lot of Christmas presents typically. I give presents, I don't get a lot. My wife hasn't really bought for me for many years. When money was tight, she wasn't allowed to buy me anything.
Well, that makes sense because kids become priority,
Well, kids.
I mean, kids are always priority, but they become ultimate priority. If you can't afford more than that, you got to at least take care of them.
Yeah, but even still, I'm somebody who would rather get gifts for other people, and I almost always know what my gifts are ahead of time.
Right.
So I had an idea of what my gifts were because of this new focus on vinyl records. I knew that my wife was going to be buying me a bunch of vinyl records. Right. I knew that was going to happen. She made it clear that she was going to buy me a bunch of vinyl records. And she's going to go a little overboard this year because she finally had something that she felt she could buy for me. And she bought me a couple other items beyond vinyl records. She did get me a new beard trimmer kit.
Okay.
Which was interesting. It was an interesting choice for her, but she found it on a flash sale, so she felt like it was a good bargain. So far, it's worked okay.
Good.
I've used it twice. For beard trimming only, by the way. Be clear about that. Make sure you separate your trimmers. One for beard trimming, one for the other parts. Do not mix them, and do not let your friends use your other part trimmer. That's rude. Am I wrong? Are you there?
Let's see. Let's go ahead and set a marker and just completely remove this section.
You what'd you do? Disappear?
No.
Why? You don't want that section in there?
Fuck you.
I didn't say anything specifically. Anyway. I don't know where to go from here, man. That was brilliant. That was just, oh God. She also found me a little
now I'm keeping it.
Thing. Oh, you have to.
Oh yeah, I did that just to create the awkward silence.
She bought me a little Micro Machines Transformers thing. That was kind of neat. I did get from the grandmother a Metal Figs Spider-Man setup that I picked out myself. But getting the other gifts, my sister-in-law lives in the house. She had asked me what I should, she should get for me. And I, obviously since vinyl was going to be the kind of focus of things, I said, okay, here's a vinyl record that you could get me. This is one that I like. It's one that has always meant a lot to me. And so she, I showed her the specific one. I gave her two options. I gave her one that had, from one source, the record was green. Because that's one of the beauties of these vinyl records now, right, Mike? Is the different colors.
Yeah.
Like you said with your copy of Core that you got, the black
absolutely.
and red. So I gave her a green option and a clear option. Okay.
Okay.
I just sent you a picture on your on Messenger.
Okay.
She got me the album FOMA by the Nixons. This is a post-grunge band from the 90s. It's an album that most people don't know. One song charted. Sister was the only song that was on the radio being played. But she got me the clear version, which is awesome. And Mike, you should have got the picture of the front cover and the record itself.
Yeah. I see it. That's dope.
It's very awesome.
Yeah.
And I had this stack of records to open from my wife. Now, 2 weeks ago, she's been wanting to tell me what the records were, and I stopped. I once she bought records for me, I said, okay, I'm not buying any more records for the entire month of December. I'm not going to buy anything just in case I accidentally buy something that you've got for me. I don't want you to have to tell me no. I don't want to know what they are. I know they're records, but I don't want to know what they are. And part of that was because I knew it was torture to her that she had to keep the secret from me of what they were. And it was torturing the hell out of her, and it was brilliant. I loved it. I was so happy to do it.
Right.
But I knew they were records, so that was enough for my curiosity. My curiosity didn't have to go into what they were. I knew I would get them. I knew they were records, so I knew I'd find out on that day. So I was good to not know.
Yeah.
And we're watching TV one night, listening to there's channels on Xfinity where you can just play music.
Mm-hmm.
It's not videos; they're just music, and they're different genres of music. And so we're just listening to music one night, and the band playing is Asking Alexandria.
Okay.
And I'm just listening, and I'm like, this isn't too bad. This song's pretty good. I mean, that's not necessarily the style of music I typically listen to, but this song's pretty good.
Yeah.
I might want to look into this band. I'm starting thinking, God, there's been a lot of bands recently that I've looked into a little bit deeper and thought about more and, been more interested in. And suddenly it's like, oh crap. I know what at least one of the records that my wife got me is. I know what it is. And I said it out loud, like, oh crap, I know. She's like, what? I said, I think I know one of the bands that you got me for records. No, you don't. You have no idea. And I've not been actively thinking about it, trying to figure it out. I've not been trying to get hints or guesses or anything about it. Not trying at all. And I'm like, I literally just had a flash of insight that like this band smacked me in the brain, and I'm pretty sure you got me at least one album from this band. She's like, what? What is it? I'm like, I'm not telling you. I don't want to ruin it. She goes, no, you need to tell me. I need to know. She's wanting to know. Basically, this happens. I guess I typically have the ability to guess gifts because I can guess these things. My brain does it. Even if I don't try to, my brain can do these weird things. And so I'd look at her, I'm like, Pretty Reckless? And her eyes just get huge. She's like, how the hell did you figure that out? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It just happened. My brain just said, she got you Pretty Reckless. We're not even listening to their music. I'm like, I know, but my brain told me this. Because you never talked about getting their albums. I'm like, no, I hadn't talked about getting their albums yet. But, I love their music. I mean, I like Taylor Momsen as well because she's hot. But I love their music. And so it's like, yeah, I haven't mentioned them. She goes, I thought I was totally going to surprise you. I'm like, no, you did fantastic. I mean, I'm still like, wow. When the insight happened, it was like, oh crap, she got that. She did good. You did good, woman. You did good. Because I never would have thought of that. It just popped in my head. So she was a little bit angry that I had figured it out, but also I reassured her over and over, no, you got the perfect thing. You were insightful. I didn't talk about them at all, but that was beautifully insightful. And so I have this stack of records waiting for me, right?
Right.
Now she had said she was gonna try to put them in order, but she didn't. Then she said she didn't put them in any specific order. I don't believe that though. I believe she did. Because one of the things she had told me is that she had gotten me a gag gift of some type. I had opened all the other gifts except for the records, and none of them was really a gag gift. I thought maybe the beard trimmer was a little bit on the fence gift for her to get me a beard trimmer. Because that's a little like, okay, you don't get me that kind of stuff.
Right.
So first thing I opened was what I'm sending you right now, okay?
Okay.
And it was a Pretty Reckless record. Specifically, Going to Hell.
Okay.
What had happened, though, is she had ordered from one place, found it cheaper, canceled that ordered from another place. Both of them got shipped to her.
Oh, wow.
One of them has a colored vinyl. The other one's just a standard black vinyl.
Right.
So she's like, you know what? I have both of them. Have both of them and put them together in one package.
Dope.
The colored vinyl, as you can see in the picture, is purple. The other one is just a standard black.
Yeah.
So I have 2 of that album.
Hell yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because again, I very much do like Pretty Reckless. And I told her when she later when we were revealing a few things about gifts, she did tell me that, okay, you actually have 2 Pretty Reckless albums, which when I opened that, I'm like, okay, here's my 2 Pretty Reckless albums. All right. But at the time I didn't know that I was going to get 2 of the same one.
Right.
So when she said I had 2, I'm like, okay, I know which ones I got. She goes, which ones you got? It's the 2 with Taylor Momsen half naked on the front of them. Because there's 2 albums.
I was going to say there's 2 of them like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 of them where she's half naked. I said, you got me those 2 where she's half naked. She's like, oh, well, you have to see. Well, this was one of them with her half naked. And again, this is the one, by the way, that has the tape on her back. That's kind of like a cross with an arrow in it.
Yeah.
That's I got 2 of those. So I'm like, okay, I'm right. I got the half naked one, at least one of the half naked ones, and I have 2 of them. So I guess that's it. So the next thing that I opened was also 2 albums that I'm gonna see if you can guess this one. 2 albums that are technically that were technically released separately, but it's one of those situations where they could have and possibly should have been a double album, but they were released separately. Very much like Metallica's Load and Reload are really conjoining albums. They should have been one album, but they were released separately.
Right.
So I got 2 albums that were from a band that, again, 2 albums that are connected, but were released separately. You have a guess?
The first thing that I could think of is probably, well, there's 2 guesses.
Okay.
System of a Down's Mesmerize and Hypnotize, or Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Technically speaking, we had already bought me Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Okay.
We found that at the Audio Nerd, and she insisted that I needed to have them. Use Your Illusion 2 is still an amazing album. Use Your Illusion 2 is garbage. No, wait, sorry. 2 is good, 1 is garbage.
Oh, okay, I was going to say.
2 is good, 1 is garbage.
Okay.
So, if you check your pictures, you were right.
Mesmerize and Hypnotize?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, dude. Do they, okay, so there was a design for Mesmerize and Hypnotize that was, it was one, how did it go? It was one... On the CD version, when it originally came out, the 2 album covers have the capability of conjoining together to become a singular album. Like design.
Nice.
I do not know if the vinyl record jackets are designed to be like that, but I was curious if they were.
I've sent you the pictures. That's how they come up with the pictures on the jackets. So
right, that's the pictures.
And they're very simple. They're very simple jackets. Nothing more to them.
Okay, so they're just standard gatefold. Are they gatefold jackets or just regular jackets?
No,
okay,
not even gatefold.
Okay. So that's totally cool. I was curious whether or not they did that. I knew that they did this like whole design with the Mesmerize Hypnotize original album, actual like CD album designs where you could fit one into the other one, and they were like like I said, you could conjoin them into a single like album that had a special fold to it or whatever. So they didn't do that with the vinyl. Not like I'm complaining. That's dope though. Mesmerize and Hypnotize, both of them. That's killer.
Yeah, and I think it's Mesmerize. It's one of that is my favorite System of a Down album anyway. So
both of them are absolutely fantastic. I used to steal this album all the time, but that's less of an album and more of just a compilation of a bunch of songs. Yeah. Where Toxicity was like my real introduction to System of a Down. The first album is great. Toxicity I have on vinyl, but I do want Mesmerize and Hypnotize for sure.
Yeah, and Toxicity is a good album, but when my youngest was born, her favorite 2 things to listen to were Mesmerize and oh god, what's their name? Oh, it's a country music group that's awful. I can't even think of their name right now.
Flasco Rats.
Yes.
Shut up! No way! I just threw that out there.
It was Rascal Flatts. It was Rascal Flatts. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
That's
wow.
Funny.
That's amazing. Good job, sir.
Thank you. I only did that because I default to that country band name because nobody fucking knows who they are. Like they're a famous group, but nobody realizes that. Like name one. Name a hit. Most people can't because their only hit is a cover of "Life Is a Highway." And that one's a cover, so it's not theirs. But
the album of theirs and this album were the two things that she listened to as a kid, as like a baby, not even as a kid, but as a baby. Yeah. She listened to these two albums, and like it was the weirdest thing because she loved both of those albums. And Mesmerize is so. I mean, you're sitting here singing to a baby about violent pornographies, and she's loving it. And it's like, okay, you are going to be a twisted child. Great job. So this is what I've opened so far, right? I opened the one from the sister-in-law, knowing what it was, but not knowing if it was green or clear, and being so happy with the clear. And she's like, "That's your favorite color." I'm like, "Exactly." I get the Pretty Reckless one, and I'm like, "This is awesome." I get the System of a Down, and I'm like, all right, the wife has got it. She's dialed in. I mean, she's been great with this whole record thing because she knows my music tastes. That's one of the things she definitely knows. She knows the bands that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Those bands that I just kind of like. She really knows the bands that I hate.
She really knows those bands.
So then I open the next one.
Okay.
And this is what I get.
I know that I know this because you sent it to me, and it was the only one you sent me a picture of up until today. You haven't sent me any other albums that you got. You sent me this one, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
And I just sent it to you again. It is, by the way, the only one that I have not broken the wrapping on. I have not opened it. I did put it in a sleeve, but I have not opened it.
You put it in a sleeve, but you didn't take the cellophane wrap off it? What do you think? It's a collector's item, dude?
It's being actually the wife thinks it might be one day, which goes to show that her love for this band still just it does admittedly it does have the only song of theirs that I actually like on it.
That's because it's got all the hits on it.
Well, do you know what the only song of theirs I like is?
No.
What If?
I don't know that one, and I don't really care to look it up.
It's from the Scream 3 soundtrack. It used to play on Blockbuster Video on our thing that we would have playing.
Yeah. I remember which one that one is now.
That's the only Creed song I have ever liked, and yes, it is Creed. She got me Creed's greatest hits. And the best part about this, oh my God, the very best part about this, I almost want to open it just to be able to see it. But the best part about this is their greatest hits album, right?
Right.
It's got 2 records in it.
I was going to say it's a double LP.
No, it's not though. Here's the thing. It's their greatest hits album. There's a side A. There's a side B. There's a side C.
The side D is etched. I just saw it on this picture.
There is no side D. They didn't have enough greatest hits to have a side D. They just have 3 sides of vinyl for their greatest hits.
Oh my God.
It's brilliant and beautiful. And yes, for me, it is a collector's item because this was the gag gift. And I opened that and I looked at that and I looked at her and she's just laughing. And I'm like, seriously? And I had been stacking the records upright on the, up against a cabinet that's next to my chair, leaning up against that cabinet as I'm opening them. And I didn't even stack this with the other ones. I put it behind me in my chair, just like, seriously. And she's laughing and I'm like, and she's like, what, you hate it, don't you? I'm like, well, yeah, I hate Creed. But as far as gag gifts, I mean, I'm hoping this is the only one like this in here. If this is the gag gift, you did good. That is a damn good gag gift.
Yeah. When you told me that when you told me that she got you a Creed album and then you showed me the picture, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me. I showed it to my wife and she was like, oh God, I would never do that to you. She's all, how does she know How does she not know to not get that?
She had thought about getting something that was Nickelback, but she thought that would have been good. She thought that Creed would have been even funnier.
She's not wrong. Like,
no, she's
absolutely
not wrong.
Yeah, she's dead on. Getting a Creed album is funnier than getting a Nickelback album for sure.
And again, the best part is with it being their greatest hits and it only being greatest hits enough to only cover 3 sides of vinyl and them having to do an etching on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, one of the other albums I got, which I will get to, does only have 3 sides of vinyl, but it's a normal album, and that's, they had too much to fit on 2 sides of vinyl, just one record, but they didn't have enough to cover the other side for, the one album. So that does have etching on the other side of the final album, but that's just a standard album. That's not your greatest hits.
Right. That's a lot of what happens with albums like that is, especially at the time when you're looking at that, I tend to find that when a lot of CDs are either on double vinyl where they have 3 sides or 4 sides, and it depends on how much music it crammed into the CD because you could cram so much. But a lot of people would stop at like about an hour, right? About 60 minutes. Well, I mean, if you're looking at 20 minutes a side, that's only 3 sides. It's not a 4th side. So people do cool art when you got 60 minutes worth of music.
Yeah.
But greatest hits records, they're either 1 disc or they're 2 discs. They're not. I've never seen a disc and a half vinyl record greatest hits album.
I mean, The Offspring's greatest hits is 1 disc, but like all their songs are 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because they're a fucking punk band. So 1 disc is like, 1 disc is like watching. 1 disc for a punk band on an album is like, it's like watching the Batman. It takes fucking 3 hours of any punk musician's of a punk fan's attention span. It's equivalent to a 3-hour film.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, this was as far as gag gifts go, and I can appreciate a good gag gift. Crappy gag gifts, no. I mean, I got one time for a gag gift, I got a Fisher Price Play School hammer. Little red Play School hammer.
Yeah.
And the idea was I was to use it as the DM playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God, that's great.
To basically get order. Smack it on the table to get order. But they couldn't get like a full-size gavel because they were way too expensive. So they got me that as like a fake version of a gavel.
That's awesome.
That was great. And I used it for D&D for years until I lost it. That was a great gag gift. That was a gag gift that totally made sense. This is a great gag gift, which is why, again, it's not going to be opened. It's in, even though it's still in the cellophane, it's in a plastic sleeve. It will be put on display because it's a hilarious gag gift. It's really well done. My wife was worried that I wouldn't find the humor in it. I totally get the humor. It is if she really thought I would like it, then yeah, I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But for being the ultimate gag gift, and what's beautiful about it is where it was placed. If it had been the first record, I would have been like, what the heck's going on? But I get 2 things that I like, and that I'm one of them I'm expecting to get, the other one I like, and then this is the third one. It's like, oh God, what the fuck else is what's next? What's the rest of this? Holy wow. If she got this, where are we going with this? This is the next one I open. This is one that, as I open it, she says, "I wasn't sure about this. There's songs on here that I know you like, but I wasn't entirely sure. But it was a good price, but I never thought you'd buy it for yourself, so I went with it." And that's this one. Let's get your reaction to the pick.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a Cranberries compilation.
Hell yeah.
And I do like the Cranberries. I'm not a huge Cranberries fan. She's way more of a Cranberries fan than me. But I was like, that's not bad. That's a pretty good album. You're right. It's not one that I would have picked up and bought for myself by any means.
Yeah.
But that's a really good choice. That's a solid choice. It's a band that I do like. So, okay. Now I'm thinking we're going to see some other weird stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
But no, there's only 3 left.
Okay.
And these next 2 were packaged together, and she pulled out the big guns for these.
Mm-hmm.
This is big guns. As much as the One Pretty Reckless album was good, this is big guns. Because these are 2 of my favorite albums of all time, packaged into one.
Oh.
It's the first album and then its sequel, almost 10 years later. No, more than 10 years later.
Oh.
And two of the best albums of all time.
On vinyl,
one of
both
which
of them?
was, huh?
On vinyl, both of them?
Both of them on vinyl.
Oh, hell yeah. Come on. Let me see it.
There you go.
Yep, there they are.
Yep.
1 and 2. Did
she
3?
Got me. What?
I was going to say, did 3 ever come out on vinyl? I'm sure it did.
Almost impossible to find now.
Really?
Yes, and sadly, these are the first album. It's not an original. I had seen a lot of originals online. It's not an original. It's a reissue. As is actually they're both reissues. Neither one of them are originals. But that's all right.
Sure. Yeah, I could give a crap less for reissues. A lot of the time, if a reissue is done so I've looked up some of the data on reissues and stuff, and essentially what happens is the way that a vinyl record is printed, when they're reissued, they are remastered, but they're remastered as close as you can get, that barring what the technology allows at that time. But I've tended to notice that some reissues more recently are better made than reissues. If it's a 10-year past reissue, a lot of the time the technology's gotten better. And there's a difference in the fidelity of the record. People that are into vinyl will be I'm probably making, if there's anybody that's super into vinyl, I'm probably making them pull their hair out at this point. But there was did I go over the MoFi thing? I think I talked about that on a previous podcast.
Yes.
So yeah, I honestly could give a shit less over how a record is put out. If it's good, if it's accurate, and if it's on wax, I'm all about it. It just sounds good. It sounds really good. So but the reissue stuff, I found that some reissues are made more resiliently than the original records are, because a lot of the time original records are made, they're pressed in order to get out there and sell as many copies as they can. If you want to pick up something and I know you're definitely not going to ever want to get one of these, and I completely understand. You want to pick up something like the Beatles' White Album, which was just mass-produced to absolute shit. I will tell you flat out right now, the newer version, even the 2009 remaster that was done of the original stereo tapes on 180-gram vinyl, is going to be more resilient, it's going to be higher quality, and it's going to sound better than any of the original pressings will. And I don't care if you're but it's not analog. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It has to do with the resilience of the medium. The technology improved in 2009 versus 1968, I think, when that album came out, 68, 69, something like that. The technology to make those recordings improved. Yes, it changed to a different medium, but it improved, and you can't argue that. You cannot argue it. Put a pressing of the White Album from 2009 versus a pressing from 1969, and you will hear the difference. The difference in the quality is just the fact that it's heavier weight, it's a deeper groove, it has more dynamic range. There's all of these things that make it sound better. And don't get me wrong, for the nostalgia of it, getting an original press, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that press, but you can't argue sound quality. So a reissue from 1985 is going to sound different and probably better than a 1976 run of something. I have a 1985 pressing of Rush's 2112. I have mulled back and forth grabbing the 180-gram reissue because I know it's going to sound better. But the 1985 pressing sounds pretty damn good, and I know it's going to sound better than any 1976, 78 pressing of that album. I can't remember when that album came out, but yeah, it's going to sound better than most of those first pressings, unless it's an absolute first run, and that just has to do with how far in you're using the same press for that record until that press wears out, and then you got to make another one. So I've seen that happen. I have heard differences in new pressings versus old pressings. It's one of the things I started researching before I really cared about whether or not something was a new reissue or not.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's excuse my soapboxing, but get the reissues. The reissues are going to sound better.
So You gonna tell everybody now what the 2 albums I sent you were?
Yes. Oh my God, that's right. We didn't even say that. He sent me Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell and Bat Out of Hell 2. And that's why I asked about 3, because 3 you can't find, apparently. It's super rare. Didn't know that. But yes, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell 1 and Bat Out of Hell 2. Honestly, some of the best songs ever written by Jim Steinman, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the only thing that would qualify as being one of his best songs that is not on there is on Bat Out of Hell 3.
It is, and funny enough, it is also. You could say that, but was that one of the ones that Celine Dion did as well?
Yeah, that was the main one that Celine Dion did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, didn't he also write the Turnaround song? Total Eclipse of the Heart, isn't that Jim Steinman too?
Did he?
I believe so.
Looking it up right now.
I know. That's why I said.
I'm sure that, and Bonnie Tyler just died last year too.
Yeah.
Written and produced by Jim Steinman. Yep. Yeah, Total Eclipse of the Heart was Bonnie Tyler, written and produced by Jim Steinman. There it is.
So again, those were packaged together when I opened them. So I was like, oh yeah. There had also been of the first album of Bat Out of Hell. There had been some versions that I had seen online that had different vinyl variants, red and black vinyl variants, that kind of thing. The Bat Out of Hell 2 just came in black vinyl. The versions I got were both black vinyl, which is fine. The color variant would have been nice, but still, these are 2 of my favorite albums. I wore out the cassette tapes of these albums that I had. These are albums I can definitely play the whole thing. And of course, the first one is only one record. The second one is 2. Full gatefold with the all the lyrics inside. So very, very nice production on the album art and all. And then I had one left. And so at this point, I had no idea. I'd been shocked by the Creed, surprised in a good way by the Cranberries, surprised happily with the Meatloaf. What's this last album I'm going to get? Any guesses?
Oh God, no. I honestly don't know. With what you've shown me, it's a relatively eclectic mix. I can't necessarily say.
So last album just proves how good my brain is and how right I am.
Where is it? Oh, the other one.
The other Pretty Reckless, where she's half naked on the cover,
of course.
And even more half naked inside the gatefold.
Whoa, is that is that etching on the back?
So this is what I was talking about there only being enough music for this single album, not a greatest hits album, but for this single album, there's only enough music for 3 sides of record. So on the back side of the second record is the lights in the middle of the picture.
Yeah.
It's the only way to get enough light for you to see the etching of any kind, but there's etching on the back of the second disc.
That's dope.
That's very cool. So I got a little spoiled with records for Christmas.
Yeah.
Got my Pretty Reckless collection started. Now I need some more. Got some softcore porn as a result of it, because again, Taylor Momsen. But really good, even especially actually with the inclusion of Creed, a really good set of choices by my wife. She did a fantastic job, which makes sense because she's the one who started me on the record journey with the Metallica stuff. She has the understanding of me to get the right things.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
She stayed away from some of the bands like Tool, which have expensive records, the ones that are that you can get. She stayed away from any Metallica stuff that I might get, which I did end up picking up a copy of the first symphony show, the first S&M show. Mm-hmm. I did get a copy of that. I'm waiting to get a copy of the second one because it's more expensive. But she stayed away from the things that she knew to be careful with, but she also made me think about other bands that I definitely, other albums that I definitely want. There's, Murder Noms by Perfect Circle. I need that album. Mm-hmm. There's Audio Slave's first album, which is just amazing. There's one I found even online. I do have to put it in order for an obscure band from the 90s, Shakespeare Sisters. They did one specific album that's a really an album I love. It's actually one that my wife had initially liked, and we'd listened to it on car trips, and it's just, alternative kind of pop music from the mid 90s, early mid 90s, female lead singer, in similar vein to maybe I don't know who you could compare it to, but that's it's just a fun album I'd love to have. But this made me think a little bit more, and she did fantastic set of albums. So very, very happy with that. I also did get a Star Wars game that I can actually play with the rest of the family.
Really?
Because it's easy enough that everybody else can play along with it. So I mean, I'll still dominate, but at least I have a chance to do okay.
What is it?
It's a weird picture game. You give a card with 4 pictures on it, and you can decide. You roll a dice to see which one of the questions on the back you ask based on the 4 pictures on the front. So it's hard to explain unless you actually sit and see the cards.
Yeah.
What's nice is they have easy pictures. So like sometimes like the question will be, which 2 of these things would you find on such and such place? Like on which 2 of these vehicles would you find on Tatooine? And it's a picture of 4 different vehicles. You have to pick which 2 would be on Tatooine.
Oh, okay.
So it's got playability for other people. So yeah, it's kind of neat. It's not, like I said, it's still something I'm going to dominate in, but it's something other people that have a passing understanding of Star Wars will get. So that's nice.
All right.
But otherwise, that was that everybody was our Christmas. Do you have more to add from yours, sir?
No, not necessarily, aside from the fact that I went through a freaking songwriting spree or at least lyric writing spree for a bunch of parodies at the end of the year. I was strangely inspired by by the holiday song that I came out with, that I put on my YouTube page, just before Christmas, just around Christmas, and wrote a ton of other ones. And now I think I'm just going to do a whole 10-song album next year. Release the whole thing. You're
Mr. Crinkle?
Mr. Crinkle? No, Mr. Kringle. Mr. Crinkle's Primus.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got it wrong.
Yeah, the Mr. Kringle one. No, I did a bunch of them, and I even got some help from another friend from another friend of mine as well, who sent me some lyrics that I was like, I saw them and was like, no, this has to be done. So I'm not going to give any examples or samples yet until I'm ready to release, but I've already started the process on it, so I'm super stoked on it.
Well, I know you sent me one of the sets of lyrics.
I think I've sent you a couple of them, but I can send you some others too to keep you in on the
only one I got was the let me check here.
I have 2 Metallica ones, and I think I've sent you one at least.
Yes, you sent me the one about Yule.
Yes. Okay, so I've sent you the one about Yule. There's one that I have. There's a couple of Black Sabbath ones that I have in the line. There's one that's a Misfits one. I have a Slayer one now. Nice. I will tell you about that after, but from what I can tell from the clock today, sir, and your schedule, I believe we are a bit pressed for time.
We're getting close to done.
Okay.
But I'm glad you did bring that up so that people have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
For next year. I know that we made sure to we had a little funny exchange where I told you to post it on the Zencron page, Facebook page.
Yes.
You were on a little mini health lockdown. So you were trying to post it from your phone and you were having issues. So then I went and posted it from my phone, but by the time I posted it from my phone, you had already figured out how to post it. So it got posted twice by both of us, which I thought was hilarious. And then there was some commentary made back and forth about it. I still think you should have gone with the comment that I suggested that you go with. but because I think it's hilarious. I know it's not you, it's not in your character, but I still think it was a hilarious comment. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, no, it's, it was a good vacation. It was good to take a little time away. It was good to be able to come back and talk about our Christmases.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's getting near time. I got to go watch my football game because football is important. I do have to get changed into my football attire. Yes, I wear specific clothing to watch my football game. I change specifically into clothing to watch the football game and then change out of the clothing after the football game is over. Yes, I know I'm a sports fanatic, whatever. I'm not that bad. I don't paint my face. I don't go to a stadium and scream or anything. I just wear special clothes. Kind of like Mormons.
Fair.
But anyway, Mike.
Yes.
Where can people listen to us talk about our Christmas presents, hear more about your upcoming Christmas album, and yeah, all of that?
Well, you can be checking us out on our website, theXennialChronicles.com or Zencron.com if you don't want to type that much. You can also take a look at any major podcast platform. We should be on those, as well as YouTube. Our podcasts are uploaded in video format on YouTube, so go ahead and search for the Xennial Chronicles on YouTube, or go to youtube.com/ I think it's /Zencron or /@Zencron. I'm not sure. I don't know how that @ thing works yet on YouTube, but try to find us, and you will, I promise. And while you're there, if you're listening to this podcast in YouTube's format, make sure that you head to the bottom of the video screen and you click the like button, and next to that you click the subscribe button, and next to that, James, there is one more thing to do. What is that?
Click the fucking bell.
That's right. Click the fucking bell to make sure that you get notified the next time we have another podcast or another video out on our YouTube channel as well, because sometimes we put videos out when we don't have podcasts up and ready.
Also, when you're there, please be sure to comment anything you want to on any of the videos. I mean, try to be nice, but if you don't want to be nice, I guess you don't have to be. We'll just delete your comment or whatever. I think that's how it works. But comment as to where you are if you're listening to this. We're still trying to find out where people are that might be listening to this, what the demographic is, what we need to talk more about. I don't know. Or we can just keep talking about what we're talking about if there are people actually listening to us. Also, while you're on YouTube, please check out Mike's other 2 pages. He has a page that's dedicated to music-related stuff, Ruling Note Music.
Yes.
This is where you will see the videos, for instance.
Yes.
Of Mr. Kringle. Which yes, people, that is Mike. If you've seen Mike do any other music, if you've seen his other bands, Prilosis and Digital Havoc, that is Mike singing in the Mr. Kringle thing. He's doing his job to sound like the Aussie style voice, and he nails it. I had to ask him, was that actually you singing?
Yep.
Because it didn't sound like him. There was a moment or two where I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's definitely Mike, because I could hear it in certain parts of the song, but damn, you nailed that thing.
Thank you.
But he has a bunch of videos on there that are various music related things. Check that out. Also, check out the YouTube page that he has with his wife, Chronicles Games. This is him and his wife playing video games. There was originally kind of a theme to it, but now it's just them playing video games and having fun at it. Specific focus on the Legend of Zelda style games. There's been some new videos that have been put out. One where Mike had to work his ass off to make the video work because of sound issues. Check those out. Like, subscribe, click the bell on all of those. And, leave nice comments to make us feel good. Final note going into the new year, okay?
Okay.
We talked about winter storms over the Midwest. We talked about the storms here in California. I don't want to delve too deeply into possible, climate change stuff, whatever your feelings on that, whatever your beliefs on that. Just try to do one thing going into this new year, okay? Mm-hmm. Make sure to recycle your pizza boxes. Because if you don't, it can get you in a lot of trouble.
Dude, seriously, man.
Thank you for listening, and we'll be back again next week.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.